Hey folks, I'm Todd Cook with Traditional Bowhunters of Georgia. We're doing a set of instructional videos for the website, and this is the first one. So I build a lot of my own equipment. I like to bow hunt with arrows and bows and strings and all that sort of stuff that I make myself. This is an arrow that I made from a poplar board, and I would like to show you how I do that. So the first thing I do is I pick out a board. This is a 4" by 1/2" by 36" board of poplar, just something you'd buy from Home Depot. And this is a pretty good board. It's not the best, but it's pretty decent. It's really straight. The one thing you want to really look for is the grain. You want the grain to be as straight as possible. The more growth rings you get that stay within the length of the shaft without running out, the stronger the shaft will tend to be, and the less likely it is to break. So I take these type boards and I rip them on a table saw. You can use a bandsaw or whatever you have, and I rip them into 3/8 by 3/8 squares like this, and I use a block plane to take the corners off of them, as I will show you. Okay, this is a board of poplar. You can see from the tag, this is a 1/2" thick, and it's 36 inches long. This board's about 4.5 inches wide. And if you look at this board, this is what I have at the moment. This is not the best piece you can find, but it's a pretty good board. The flat grain of this, as you can see up here, does have a little bit of run out on it. So we'll be careful with that section. The part over to the left is pretty good. But if you look at the edge of this board, well, that's on. Let's see. Yeah, if you see the edge grain of this, it actually runs pretty straight all the way down the board. So the idea behind it, to make your shafts really strong, you want them to be, you want the grain to be as straight as possible. So however many growth rings are in that particular shaft, you want the fewest amount possible running off the edge. Okay, so I've taken one of those 3/8 by 3/8 blanks, and I've taken it over here to the other side of the table. And if you'll notice, this tabletop's just some 2x10 material, and there's some slots, actually the 2x6 material, and there's some slots between it. So I've got this board over here set up edgeways on this table, and then I use this block plane, which this is just an old Craftsman from Sears block plane, and it's about a 6" by 2" plane. I set the shaft up on its corner, or the blank up on its corner, and I've got a nail. I don't think you can see it, I think it's off camera, but there's a little nail driven over here that's it's probably sticking up 1/8 inch, and all that does is to keep this from moving. So I just take the plane and I start on the corner, and I just run it straight across like this. So what I'm trying to do is to take this 4-sided blank and turn it into an 8-sided blank. And I just sort of look as I go. It's not really scientific at how much I'm taking off. You can see the plane's pretty sharp. You want to adjust your plane to where it cuts little ribbons like that. So I'm going to flip the shaft over push hard. If your plane is sharp, it'll cut right on through it. You don't want to rip the wood off. You want to feel it cutting it. Little thin ribbons. I'll do another video about sharpening. It's very important to use sharp tools. As you can see, it just peels it right off. I'm going to go ahead and do the other two sides, and I'll get back with you in just a moment. Okay, I've gotten the rest of the 4 sides turned into 8 sides, and then what I did is I went back and in between those facets that I created, I sort of knocked the edges off of them. So basically you end up with a 12 to 16 sided blank, and if you look, you can see that it's not round, but it's certainly not square anymore either. So this is well on its way. You notice most all the saw marks are gone. So I take it then, I take the blank and I insert it into a 3/8 drill. And just tighten it up. I use something like this, which is it's just a this is a 60 grit sanding block or sanding sheet. That this is a self-adhesive one that would go on a vibrating sander. So I just have got it for this. Hold the drill. I normally use gloves and a mask, but to show you what I'm doing, I just put a little bit of pressure and just slowly start. You can see the sawdust coming out. So just, you'll have to experiment with it, how you want to hold the paper. It came out. So as you can see, it's not round yet, but it's very close. It's beginning to take shape. You still got some squared areas on it. So I'm going to put it back in the drill. I should have got some new sandpaper before I started this. Try it the other way. I wanted to show you the shaft before we go any further with it. This is turning out really well. You see the runoff right there, but that's pretty minor. So we're down, looks like we've got about 6 or so growth rings that run all the way through it. Sorry, I'm messed with the camera. Looks like we've got about 6 or so growth rings that run all the way through the shaft. It's got a nice smooth finish. So we're going to go ahead and do a self knock and taper the end and make an arrow out of it. I won't show you the whole process of doing a self knocks. I may do that in another video. You can see how I do these right here. I cut these in and I wrap around them the back and just fletch them like normal. You can do these just like regular shafts and put plastic knocks on them. On the front, I just tapered these like I tapered this one like you would for anything else, and put a 160 grain fill point. This is a trade point, which is made from a bandsaw blade that I've hafted to the front end. But these work really well, and they make really good arrows. They're just like store-bought, maybe better. So let's see how they shoot. Okay, folks, I've got my 63-pound Osage self bow and some of the finished poplar arrows that I showed you how I make in the shop. And I'm out here on the range behind my house. Got a big pig target down here, so let's see how these homemade arrows work. Folks, that's about 17 yards, homemade bow, homemade string, homemade arrows, and that is one seriously dead pig. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.